Hello, welcome to our YouTube channel. On today's episode, we bring to you the history of the legendary King Arthur and Camelot. Was there a real King Arthur, or is it pure legend? So without going much further, let's quickly dive straight into it. For centuries, the legend of King Arthur has fascinated historians, writers, and dreamers alike. The gallant king, his fabled sword Excalibur, the noble knights of the Round Table, the mystical wizard Merlin, and the utopian kingdom of Camelot. These are the elements of a story passed down through generations. But beneath the layers of myth and medieval romance, a question remains. Was King Arthur real, or is he merely a creation of legend? In this journey through time, we will uncover the origins of the Arthurian legend, explore historical evidence, and separate fact from fiction. Our story begins in the turbulent days of post-Roman Britain, around the 5th and 6th centuries AD. Rome had withdrawn its forces, leaving the island vulnerable to invasions from Saxons, Picts, and other warring factions. It was a time of chaos, a land in need of a hero. The first hints of Arthur appear in the writings of early medieval scholars. The Welsh historian Nennius, writing in the 9th century, mentions a warrior named Arthur who fought 12 great battles against the Saxons. But was he a king? No, Nennius describes him as a dux bellorum, a war leader, not a ruler. Another early reference comes from the Annals Cambriae, or the Welsh Annals, from the 10th century, which claims that Arthur fought in the Battle of Badon Hill, securing a great victory. Yet, these records provide no clear proof that Arthur was a real historical figure. So, if Arthur truly existed, was he a single man? Or was he a composite of multiple warriors whose deeds became legend over time? While early references to Arthur were scarce and uncertain, the 12th century saw the legend explode into something far grander. A man named Geoffrey of Monmouth changed everything. Geoffrey was a cleric and historian who, in 1136, wrote Historia Regum Britanniae, the history of the kings of Britain. In this work, Arthur is no longer just a warrior. He is a mighty king, leading Britain into a golden age. This is where we first hear of Merlin, Arthur's mystical advisor, and where the idea of Camelot begins to take shape. But Geoffrey's work is full of embellishments. He describes Arthur as a conqueror who defeats the Saxons, invades Europe, and even challenges the Roman Empire. Scholars believe that much of Geoffrey's account is pure fiction, designed to entertain and inspire rather than to record real history. Despite this, his version of Arthur became the foundation for countless future stories. Following Geoffrey, writers across medieval Europe took the Arthurian legend and expanded it further. French poet Chrétien de Troyes, in the 12th century, introduced new elements, such as the Holy Grail, the love affair between Lancelot and Guinevere, and the concept of chivalry. It was during this time that the Knights of the Round Table became the heart of the legend, an elite group of warriors bound by honor, courage, and loyalty to Arthur. Each knight had his own story. Sir Lancelot, the bravest of all but doomed by his love for Guinevere. Sir Gawain, the noble warrior who faces the mysterious Green Knight. Sir Galahad, the pure-hearted knight destined to find the Holy Grail. By the 15th century, the legend reached its peak with Sir Thomas Malory's Le Mort d'Arthur, The Death of Arthur, the most famous medieval retelling of the story. Malory's version gives us the full image of Camelot, a kingdom of justice and nobility, but also of betrayal and tragedy. Like all great legends, the story of Arthur is not without its downfall. Betrayal lies at the heart of Arthur's demise. His trusted knight Lancelot falls in love with Queen Guinevere, creating a division among the Round Table. Meanwhile, Arthur's illegitimate son, Mordred, rises against him. In the final battle at Camelot, Arthur and Mordred face off. The battle is fierce, but both are mortally wounded. As the king lies dying, his loyal knight, Sir Bedivere, takes Excalibur and throws it back into the lake, where the mysterious lady of the lake receives it. According to legend, Arthur does not truly die. Instead, he is taken to the mystical island of Avalon, where he waits, one day to return when Britain needs him most. But is this just a myth, or could there be truth behind Arthur's supposed death? Despite centuries of storytelling, there is no definitive proof that King Arthur ever existed. No historical documents from his supposed lifetime mention him. No archaeological evidence has been found to confirm Camelot's existence. However, Some historians believe that Arthur may have been based on a real war leader, perhaps a Romano-British commander who fought the Saxons in the 5th or 6th century. Theories suggest he could have been inspired by figures like Ambrosius Aurelianus, a historical Roman-British leader; Rhothamus, a 5th century British ruler who fought in Gaul; Owain Dacwen, a Welsh king with connections to Arthurian themes. Yet, without solid evidence, Arthur remains more myth than man. What about Camelot? Unlike Arthur, Camelot is almost certainly a creation of medieval literature. The first known mention of Camelot comes from the 12th century French romances, not from early historical records. Historians have speculated that if Arthur did exist, his stronghold might have been one of Britain's ancient hill forts or Roman ruins, such as Cadbury Castle in Somerset, often linked to Arthurian legend; Tintagel in Cornwall, said to be Arthur's birthplace; Wroxeter, a Roman city that could have served as a capital. However, these are only theories. Like Arthur himself, Camelot remains an enigma. So was King Arthur real? The truth is, we may never know for certain. The historical evidence is scarce, but the legend endures. Arthur represents something greater than a single man. He is the embodiment of hope, chivalry, and the eternal fight for justice. His story has been retold for over 1,000 years, in books, films, and folklore. Whether fact or fiction, King Arthur's legacy remains immortal. Perhaps, just perhaps, he still sleeps in Avalon, waiting for the day Britain calls upon him once more. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the legend of King Arthur, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical mysteries. Let me know in the comments, do you think Arthur was real or just a myth? See you in the next video.